And welcome back to another Inside Texas Around the League segment, joined here by Coach Hayes, Robert Behrens, and Chris Marler. We have a fun crew here in the building for you. We'll get talking a little bit about last weekend in the SEC, the biggest weekend that we've had so far in this conference, and then look a little ahead to the Week 4 slate. Gentlemen, how's everyone doing? And thanks for being here.
Doing great.
Awesome, dude.
I cannot believe you are on this show.
I can't believe that you are here, but let's make the most of it, Chris. Always a fun crowd, man. This is some of my favorite folks across the Twitter sphere. And if you do not know who they are, Coach Hayes, you can find them right there, CoachHayesHuddle.com, breaking down X's and O's all the time over on YouTube. Rob Behrens, managing editor over at Good Bull Hunting, and Chris Marler, you can see him all day, every day. Everywhere. He is social media amongst the college football world. So, but yeah, appreciate you guys in the comments. Already, let's have a lot of fun here. Got some Aggies in here already, I see. So yeah, try to get the Aggie, and they tend to follow Mr. Robert Behrens. So before we get into it, we are going to talk a little bit about Texas. But first, let me tell you what you can do. You can hop on over to Inside Texas, the #1 source for Longhorn fans, insider notes, recruiting scoops, and in-depth analysis all in one place. You can join for a single buck, $1, and you for your first week, and you receive a complimentary year to The Athletic. Don't miss out. Subscribe now. Gentlemen, I did not sit here thinking in Week 4 that I would kind of be the low man on the totem pole. That's the way I feel. I'm going to be honest with you. Texas does not look offensively the way many people thought that they would look. I am here to get some opinions from guys that are not Longhorn fans on what they see, maybe what the issue is, and maybe what it looks like further down the line, because right now I don't think anyone truly knows. And we're going to start it off with Mr. Marler, because I feel like he has a few things he'd probably want to get off his chest in regards to the Horns.
Hey, the good news is you guys are about to start the fun part of the schedule. So, I mean, listen, I don't think the sky's falling because I'm still firmly in the camp. I think Texas's defense is going to keep them in every game. They're very, very good. They might have the best defense in the country and the best back seven in the country. I think all those things are still very true. I would be concerned about Arch just because the mechanics stuff look really weird. And it's not like he's barely missing. He's missing a lot. And so that and the coach knows more about that, I think, because he's a more of an X and O's guy, but it seemed like they're struggling. If only there was like some way they could have avoided all these expectations they put on them and the team going into this season. I don't know who could have been in control of that. Surely it would have been Texas media, but it escalated quickly, brother. It escalated quickly.
I definitely, there's some more than others that are out there, talking about what Arch Manning would inevitably be. And some that are still doing it. But no, I agree. I don't think the sky is falling. I think over the last few days, I started to feel a little bit better. Mr. Behrens, you got to be eating this up though, man. You've had some fun with Arch's struggles so far on Twitter. How are we feeling?
Well, it's just so hard to pick between his 5 first half completions in 2 separate games. But yeah, I mean, for sure, for an A&M fan perspective, definitely maybe like the best start you could have as far as what Texas is going through. Like you said, I think we all know Arch is going to get better from here. I don't think anyone's expecting that it's just going to be this the entire year. There may be ebbs and flows along the way, but I think they're going to figure some things out. But the thing I always come back to, because obviously you're not coming to me for in-depth analysis on Texas football, but just from a college football philosophical perspective, we're now 3 games in, and we're at that point in the year where, okay, week 1 happened, and you're like, okay, there was these things that went wrong, but it was the first game. We can clean things up. We'll move forward. When you're seeing the same things go wrong for 3 straight games, like every week that goes by, it gets a lot harder to convince yourself that it's going to be something fixable, because they had the whole offseason to fix it. Now they've had going on 3 weeks to fix it. And at some point, as much as it sucks, I think at some point you say, well, this might just be a thing that we're dealing with all year long.
I think that's well said. I mean, because at some point you are what you are, right? If this went on for 9 weeks, people would stop saying, hey, I mean, he's going to figure it out. People just say, this is what to expect from Arch Manning, at least for that year. And the craziest part is that Arch Manning didn't look like this in the offseason. He didn't look like this 6 weeks ago in camp. It was a completely different mindset. Mechanics doesn't seem to be broken down yet. And so, yeah, I think that's the craziest part about it all is it's happened kind of on the fly. And coaches and some players seem shell-shocked to an extent. And it's like, okay, well, how do we get this reverted back to what we've seen in the past? Go watch clips from last year. And yeah, it's a different offense that he's playing with, but just his demeanor, his attitude. I hate to use the word swagger. I'm not going to do it, but you know what I'm talking about. Coach, you're an expert in breaking down film and looking at the fundamentals of mechanics. What do you see in Arch Manning?
Well, that's what I was going to say. When you look at just him from a quarterback perspective, I think that he has the yips almost like a golfer would, in the sense like he's taken his mechanics and changed it due to the fact of stressors, I guess, that he's dealing with. From a coach's perspective, Sarkisian, I know, is trying to put him in good throwing opportunities, something that gets the ball out quick, something that doesn't make him have to go through a 4-second window, things like that. But watching him, he just seems to be breaking down in so many simple things as far as getting to his depth on his 3 and 5 step drops. I've watched film on 2 different games that he played. The one that I actually watched live was the San Jose State game, which they played them. I thought San Jose State did a really good job there for at least 2 quarters and a half there before it kind of got out of hand. But I've just noticed it seems like mechanically he's not moving his feet in the pocket. He's throwing off his back foot. That's causing him to sell a lot of footballs. And I'm talking about on simple things that where the windows are pretty open in zone and even in man being trailed. He's missing those simple layups. And I'm going to tell you, as Chris just mentioned a while ago pre-show, as he gets into the SEC slate, those windows are going to get tighter, and those zone windows are going to get tighter. And all of a sudden now he's got to really hone in on his skills. And right now I'm not seeing those mechanics that you would think you would see. It's weird because you're right. Last year I didn't see that. In fact, preseason, when you looked at the spring game and those things, I've even gone back to look what has caused him to get into this funk is beyond me. But him being hurt, quote unquote, maybe hurt, I don't think that's an issue. I think they're trying to use something as an excuse for him right now. But Sarkisian's really got to have a come to Jesus with him, have a sit down. We've got to get him back into the swing of things. And that gets back to the simplistics, get back to footwork, get back to the design of what you're trying to do, and get your quarterback comfortable again.
Go ahead. Can you back on that real quick? It also is one, Sarkisian, him saying he's not injured, still my favorite media clip of the entire year.
Oh, the pooping.
Poop face was incredible. That was awesome. Part of me wanted to see him make a cameo in Dabo's little rant and be like, say the poop thing.
Yeah.
But no, I think the other thing too is that there's the thing I trust more than anything with Texas, besides the defense, is Sark is the guy that is going to put him in the best possible situations. And what he does better than anyone, him and Kiffin, especially, and Ryan Day, I would throw up there as well, is they figure out ways to scheme guys open and get the ball in the hands of their best players. And it's not like Sark. He even said last year after one of the starts, he's like, he throws the deep ball really well. We might have called too many plays on the deep ball, trying to do too much for him in his first start of last year. I don't see that this year. I see them getting not necessarily extension of the run type passing plays, but like short yard situations, things that they're trying to just get like his confidence going. And even then, it still feels a little bit erratic. So it's just the whole thing just seems off.
I'm with you, both of you, on that. You have to hit the layups, the bunnies, the mesh crossers. You have to be able to hit the quick stuff, the curls, the speed outs, the quick slants, the RPO stuff. You have to be able to hit that. And that is something that where Texas fans love to make comparisons between Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning. That's something that we saw Quinn do really, really well. Agreed. He's not attacking down the field. Everybody was excited to see Arch throw the ball down the field. Well, we're not running the football. Or not hitting stuff underneath, all of a sudden it becomes very easy to defend. You take the top off the defense, you make sure you can't have the top taken off your defense. You keep everything in front of you. And when they're not completing the easy stuff that they're junior high teams at times, JV teams that are completing at a higher rate than we are, and that's not hating. It just is what it is. The numbers do not lie. Defending Texas becomes very, very easy. So I agree with you. All well said. This is our Around the League segment, but I wanted to get these experts' opinion on Arch Manning because, of course, we're talking about him all week on this channel, but most of the time it's all Texas folks. So just curious how other people see it. With that being said, we're going to move on. Unfortunately, Mr. Barons and they had a big old win up there, South Bend, Indiana. The Aggies 41-40 and a very dramatic, a very wild ball game. One of the more, let's call it more entertaining football games I've watched in a very, really long time. Would have hated if my school was involved in that game just because of the nerves and stress.
Oh my gosh.
Mr. Barons, walk me through your emotional state on Saturday, because I know you're going through it. And what does the win mean overall for the A&M season?
Oh my gosh. Saturday was a mess for me. I mean, first of all, just I feel like anytime whenever it's like that first really big kind of litmus test game of the year for your team, like I'm just a ball of nerves the entire day because you don't, like up until that point you feel like you don't fully know what your expectations should be, and to be honest, I was not all that optimistic going into that game just because A&M has proven so many times of like this is not the type of game we win. And then, of course, the opening drive, we go a 3-and-out and get a punt blocked for a touchdown. And you kind of right off the bat, you're like, well, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But no, man, I think it says a lot about this team because in the first half, not just on that, they were down 10 points multiple times in that first half where you kind of felt like they were like one drive away from the game really getting away from them. But they clawed their way back. They kept making plays. And at the end of the day, made just that one more play that they need to make and win the game and hold nothing back.
It was a crazy, man. I was, I'm nervous for, you got the Aggie wife in there screaming at the TV, yelling. I was doing a Inside Texas live show, and I was like, what the heck is going on in the other room? And then somebody comments, and it's like, Notre Dame scored already, block punt. I was like, okay. I picked A&M to win that game, and immediately started regretting it. And I was like, block punt, special teams on the road, that could get ugly. Chris, talk to me. Were you a believer in A&M going to that game? I didn't know where you stood, but what do you think about the Aggies, man?
I mean, I was too much of a B word to you're welcome. To bet the 6.5. I took 7.5. I thought it was my locks of the week though, because I really thought Marcel Reed's done a great job of proving people wrong in the offseason about how good of a passer he's become. I've been concerned about the defense because it just seems like I don't think they've played necessarily the weakest of competition. No really marquee games in week 1 or 2 necessarily, but I don't think it's been the weakest competition. But it seems like giving up that many points to anyone on a Mike Elko defense was concerning. But I'm not a big believer in Notre Dame. That's probably the most biased thing I'll say, point blank period, because I don't like Notre Dame. They had a week off before this game still, and that's what you're able to do. And I think we all owe a tip of the cap to Deep State Tyler Buckner going back to Notre Dame and sabotaging their chances of winning a national title by week 2. That was pretty awesome. But it was a great win.
It's a cool game. Coach, what do you think about the Aggies getting across the finish line? A lot of talk about them not being able to win big games or win on the road. What does that do for Mike Elko doing it in year 2 pretty early in the year?
Well, I think it's kind of personal to Mike Elko, too, because I'm a really big fan of Marcel Reed, Le'Veon Bell, and Mario Craver. I really thought preseason, I thought he was going to be doing some special things. And right now, he's just sub of 500 yards receiving. Had a great game against Notre Dame as well. But without even going to the Bengals, I think the defense definitely showed their porous abilities on defense. But, what's nice about this is there's growth in that. It's very similar to the Georgia game, if you really think about it, is that you've got some of this talent that you're not sure about the expectations, as Robert was mentioning a while ago. And all of a sudden they go out and bring it to fruition. They claw back from 10 points down. What I noticed, and I've broken down Marcel Reed a lot because I love their +1 concept they do with his quarterback system, Le'Veon Bell, but seeing him stay in the pocket and make some very high level throws that was intermediate that he was actually layering in there. Now, of course, he was erratic on some throws as well, but when he needed to make the big plays, he made the big plays. He saw the receivers downfield. He took shots. I saw some good things from him. And anytime when you look at Mike Elko, I know he was, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't he the defensive coordinator at Notre Dame back in the like 2017, 2018, I think, before he left to come to Texas A&M?
Yeah, he was there for 1 year before Jimbo hired him here.
That's what I thought. And, when I'm a coach and I've got previous coaches I've worked with and now I'm coaching against them, I've had that happen plenty of times. There's something that makes it a little bit more personal. And after the loss at home last year, I just really thought them going up and having the opportunity to be in the ball game and things go your way. I mean, realistically, the game could have gone either way, but to see them come out on top is a great growth spurt for them. I think it really catapults their season this year. They've really got a great opportunity, and having that big win on the road definitely helps them.
And I would say, just from a narrative perspective, narrative-wise, it does wonders for A&M because, Cord, you talked about, that whole decade-plus string of not winning a ranked game on the road, or I think it was, a ranked non-conference game on the road. It was like 1979. I wasn't even born yet. But you look at it now, all of a sudden, like A&M's vaulted into playoff talk. Marcel Reed is on like Heisman lists and things like that. And to me, I still feel like we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves there, because this certainly, it's one of those, it's a coin flip game amongst what's probably going to be a half dozen coin flip games on A&M's schedule. Now, certainly, if you want to try to be a playoff team, the way you do that is that you're winning more of those than you're losing. But I think it raises the floor, it raises the ceiling, but still so much football to play. So I, for one, it was a great Saturday night. I was, elated. I was, stayed up till 2 a.m. just because you're so wired that, there's no way you're going to go to sleep either way. But I guess I've seen too much Aggie football in the past to just fully be buying in and buying tickets to Atlanta and everywhere else just yet.
Robert, I was getting texts. I was in the press conference for LSU Florida while Brian Kelly was going off on the reporter while the A&M game was going. And I'm like, I don't know where to put my attention right now. This is incredible stuff right now.
Well, I mean, I was trying to write a post-game article, and I'm sitting there like midway through the fourth quarter, and I'm just like, I don't know what to write.
Yeah.
Because the game just, kept turning on a dime. And at some point I was just like, I'm just going to wait till the game's over and figure it out, because whatever I write is going to be wrong and I'll have to start over anyway.
I like it, man. Let it all flow and wait till the game ends. I mean, win or loss, it changes the tone of the article somewhat, for sure. So I like it, man. You have, in my opinion, a lot of reason to be excited because you do have clear evidence that Marcel Reed has taken the next step as a passer. He has progressed, has great pocket awareness so far in the early season. And obviously you've upgraded weapons for the, for Marcel to hit in the downfield areas. I love that you stole a little Sarkisian. You went a little there. That long touchdown to Craver was a little bit of a Sark special. His Ezekiel will that Notre Dame bid on beautifully, and Mario Craver made him pay.
Did you see him complete it though?
Yeah,
that
that's
was
the
the
thing.
biggest difference. Was like you see Marcel Reed completed it.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, if we could combine that Mike Elko offense and that Steve Sarkisian defense, we'd be cooking with gas, my friends.
That's good. I got a headache, man. I will say we did complete it in the week 2 win, the big week 2 win over San Jose State. Okay, we showed the concept, we showed it. But no, I think it's really important what you said about staying grounded, man, because you do have several games that are, in my opinion, very clearly going to play out to be most likely 1-score games. You have several tough road battles, and then you do have a defense, I think, that is still at times going to struggle. And again, I think that Chris Ash at Notre Dame is a far cry from Al Golden at Notre Dame. And that, even if it is early, but I'm still a little bit, I got some Chris Ash PTSD. I'll say that. I'm never going to forget the 2019 Red River game when Texas was letting CeeDee Lamb run around the field, score touchdowns, buy corn dogs, ride the Ferris wheel, and do whatever else that he wanted to do that day. God, it's tough, man. Tough. All right, guys, we're going to talk a little more about SEC football. But first, we're going to hear a word from our sponsor, David McClellan.
Big financial decisions don't have to feel overwhelming. There's someone who can guide you every step of the way. David McClellan is a fiduciary financial advisor with Forum Financial, and he's working closely with his clients as a true financial life coach, guiding every aspect of your financial journey with expertise and care. If his name sounds familiar, that's because David was a swimmer at Texas and a member of several national championship teams. Today, he channels that same championship mindset into helping people win with their finances. David specializes in financial planning, and he's contributed numerous articles to Kiplinger on the topic of retirement tax bombs. And right now, David is offering viewers a free intro consultation to assess your financial situation. Do not miss this chance to get personalized guidance from a trusted expert. To schedule your free consult, email David at dmcclellan@forumfinancial.com, or you can call him directly at 312-933-8823. The contact info is in the description.
Alrighty, guys, continuing on with some SEC recap action from last week. Mr. Barnes, we talked about your big win. Coach Hayes, the Georgia Dogs, man, they survived Script Heupel. They survived an early flurry of points. Talk to me a little bit about that game. Obviously you saw some big things out of Gunnar Stockton. Just what were your overall takes? And it's always good to get out of Neyland with a win, I'm sure.
Yeah, unfortunately, my type A is not going to let me go by this. I think I said Le'Veon Bell a while ago. I meant Le'Veon Moss, by the way, as far as the running back.
I was going to let you slide.
I'm sorry about that. I get to talking very fast, and that Le'Veon name just sometimes it comes out that way, so I apologize. I think, I kind of look parallel to what Robert's talking about with Texas A&M. Kirby Smart said it the best. He actually pre-show with Curb Hurstreet mentioned that he didn't really know what to expect from these guys, but what he did know about his team is that he really likes the way they rally, the way the culture is being built this year, post Carson Beck leaving to Miami. So, when you see them come out, I didn't know what to expect either. And for them to get that flurry of touchdowns right out of the gate, I had done a lot of work on Joey Aguilar prior to coming in. I watched him through the Syracuse game. I watched just his technique. I watched what Josh Heupel was doing with him in the pocket, making him more comfortable. You didn't see some of these far-fetched split schemes where wide receivers are outside the numbers trying to still run the football. I think he really became multifaceted in what he's trying to do. And when you got the Brazel kid, which I thought was probably their best receiver, and of course he showed out in the game with almost, I think he had like 175, 180 receiving yards. Of course, we made him look good on a couple of them. But, I really feel like we're in a good place because a lot of people think, well, the defense, we really thought when we went in there, I thought the defense was going to be what kind of kept us in the game, and the offense just needed to manage and grow a little bit. Turns out we get into a shootout with Tennessee, and our offense ends up being the one that takes care of business, keeping us in the game, and the defense had to grow and adapt, and, you had to make changes as the game went on, and that's something that's Kirby's so special at doing, is that if something's not working that they've got set up in the game plan as the game goes on, to me, that's what makes you an elite coach. Is that some teams can get better as the year goes on, game by game. But when you can adapt quarter by quarter and get better at what you're doing to basically offset what they're doing offensively, to me, that just makes you an elite coach. And that's what I saw as the game went on. We started shutting down Joey as he went into the second half. Of course, they had a couple of explosives on broken schemes that's going to get, obviously coached up this week. But I think it couldn't have been a better fit both offensively and defensively, for the fact that it made our defense realize we ain't all that. And we got to figure out a way to get better from that, because they've been hearing all the fluff for the past 2 weeks against an Austin Peay and Marshall team. And our offense grew up. Gunnar Stockton, I know a lot of people are going to talk to him, but yet Gunnar Stockton.
Ain't never heard of him.
I know, right? The thing is I want to maintain that humility concept like Robert's talking about, because we've got a lot of growth and we want to see that growth and get better. But just a great, for an SEC opener in such a hostile environment, you couldn't ask for a better opportunity for the win. And honestly, I would feel the same way even if we'd have taken the L, but it does feel a lot more fresh with the dub coming out of Neyland Stadium up in Knoxville.
Well said, man. I mean, I don't like what I saw, because Georgia's going to improve the defense at time. I mean, and again, you got to give credit to Tennessee, Aguilar, Josh Heupel for putting up those type of points, moving the football the way that they did, the script that they had. And then again, I think they're multifaceted, very, very solid plan, as per usual for Tennessee, but it doesn't always correlate to points against the Dogs. And so for Georgia to win a shootout scares me a little bit. Chris, what do you think about the Vols and their own kicking blunders costing them a W?
It's hard to make SEC fans feel bad for Tennessee. It is like very, very hard to do that. I felt bad for Tennessee fans on Saturday, because I do really like Heupel a lot. I think Heupel's great. I like what he's built like program wise. I think what they're doing at Tennessee is fantastic. Their fans are a different story because they're the worst. But no, I mean, I think that, listen, they are. They objectively know it, and it's a badge of honor for them, so it's fine
For sure.
But the idea, listen, as a person who's watched his favorite team go into Knoxville and get down by 2 scores in the first half and first quarter, that's a nightmare scenario, brother. That is a nightmare scenario to get into with that kind of crowd and that kind of offense. If you put your foot to the floor, Georgia's used to getting into a 0-60 in 3 seconds type situation, which they found themselves in on the field this time, Coach Hayes. Yeah. But here's the thing. The biggest thing with Georgia, I think that everyone needs to realize moving forward, the idea that Kirby Smart has lost it. Kirby Smart, the idea that Gunnar Stockton couldn't throw a forward pass, all the screen passes, they were in trouble against Austin Peay. He had to throw 34 passes. As somebody that's lived in that state or used to live in that state for a very long time, that was around, watching them build that whole thing, kind of like not in the building, but like it's the best program in college football. Their down year was an 11-win SEC championship year. And this idea that we keep giving Kirby all this free motivation, we are all Tony Robbins of this dude for no reason. It's like him being in media days, they voted that he was going to finish second in the SEC with 400 yards away from a building he wanted in the previous year over the team that they projected to win it. So I think the idea that he has somehow lost it and this team isn't going to be as good or blah, blah, blah. Georgia is really, really talented. There's talent everywhere. I agree with you on the defense. The scary part is for Georgia, I think the defense will get better. The scary part for Tennessee, by the way, schedule's the easiest in the entire conference, like in terms of like strength of schedule metrics and what they have left. The other part is they're not even close to being healthy. Like that's a good football team.
They are. I think Joey Aguilar has far exceeded early expectations at quarterback. Obviously, Tennessee fans probably crowing a little bit about the trade that not an actual trade, but yeah, they won the trade, guys. Pretty clear as day. I was very impressed with Tennessee in that first quarter and throughout that game on the offensive side of the ball. But hey, man, let's talk about London Humphreys, Gunnar Stockton. Like Tennessee fans calling that a Hail Mary. That just shows you makes your point a little bit. But I mean, that was a hell of a play in a major moment right there. And that is like last week on the show, we had John Smith on here. We talked a little bit. I asked him, I thought I was under the impression that they were just making Gunnar stay in the pocket against Marshall, that they were not going to allow him to use his legs. They wanted him to go through progressions, push the football a little bit, maybe find what's there in the passing game, see what concepts work and what he's comfortable with. And I hate that I was right. I hate it so much. He looks so dang good. It makes me sick. Again, I understand every bit of Kirby using the motivation, but I don't get it, man. Like, I don't get why we just, here's another one. Here's another one. Here's another one, Kirby. Use this. Go in there and post this on a poster and put it in the locker room and yell at your guys for a half an hour. Because I kind of feel like he does that. And I would be the same damn coach. I'm not going to lie to you.
And Hayes, also, you got to know this. Imagine how many more points y'all would have scored if you had a real offensive coordinator, not Mike Bobo. You know what I mean?
Right? I know we would probably scored 70. It's amazing how the ridiculement of what he goes through with almost 500 total yards of offense and 44 points scored. I'm sitting there as a coach watching the game because when you've coached for 20 plus years, you get to learn to not ride the roller coaster of the fandom. You have to stay even keel. So even down 21-0, I was still sitting, okay, what we got to do? This is what we got to do. I'm sitting there thinking we're roughly right over 2 minutes, north of 2 minutes. We've still got all of our timeouts. So I'm thinking on that play where we go 4th and 6. All right, let's flood the zone. We're on the wide side of the field. Let's run some type of deuces. Let's motion over trips. Let's flood the zone, run some kind of play action. And all of a sudden, man, we just step back and throw it. And I'm like, this is ball game. I mean, it was 4th and 6. I'm like, this is ball game. I could not believe it that we just, you talking about, you see the Kirby Smart meme of him when he's playing golf and he's, sitting there holding the cojones down there. I went from, okay, let's get this first down. Let's manage clock to, holy crap, this is the ball game. So, what a great opportunity for him to find that situation, to shut a lot of people up, honestly. And, I've already learned, Chris, that we're going to have Bobo haters no matter what we do. It's just amazing that you have to just stay sort of humble with that and try to it's like swatting flies, man, or swatting gnats, whatever you want to call it, just to keep them out of your face, because you're just always going to have people that hate. Because honestly, to tell you the truth, I think him and Monken, phenomenal jobs as offensive coordinators, been one of the most successful OCs at the University of Georgia, but because of the fact that he wants to run the screen game, and they don't realize that's an extension of the run game. And now you see what Ladd McConkey did with it when he was there. Now we're doing that with Zachariah Branch, and all of a sudden, like, those screens are actually working, and all those people want to talk about that. So it's kind of nice to just shut some people up, sort of hush them up, and see some good things happen. And for us to come out, it was just a fortunate situation. We took advantage at the end, and Tennessee didn't.
I just want to say that. I just want to say Hayes and I watch football very differently.
Yeah,
sure. I do not think about flooding the zone and mesh concepts. I'm just like, just run to the sticks and catch the ball.
Call the touchdown play. Call the touchdown play already.
I don't want to speak for Robert, but I was going to say, me and Robert we're strapping in on the roller coaster.
We are roller coaster people. Yeah.
It's so hard to watch a first series touchdown like they did against us. They look like, basically the way that it ran down the field, and we didn't have an answer for them. We couldn't even get lined up.
They've done that every year.
Yeah, 6 plays.
6 straight years.
Yeah, 6 plays I witnessed when I broke film down where we're not even lined down when the ball snapped. Like, we're still getting guys in position when the ball snapped. And so anyway, they go down the field like that. Everybody's, you might have thought the world was ending from my Georgia group chats that I was in. Yeah. But I'm just like, it's going to be okay. And then it was 14-0, the same thing. But you just learn to be a little bit more even keel with that, because you got to play for 4 quarters. And, I love the fact that we went 4 quarters and then some, because I think any growth factor you look at to make a team better, we fit it in all categories, offensively, defensively, special teams as well. And then obviously figuring out a way to bring it out in the end.
Not an easy place to win a dang football game, man.
And
That,
zero. Nealon always wants to talk about their loudness level, their decibel level. 0 false starts from the offensive side of the ball.
Well, it's easy to do when you
Must
have
be nice.
referees in your pocket. So
yeah, exactly.
We're
No
gonna get
doubt
all the
about it,
calls.
Chris.
Always have.
Wouldn't know anything about that, Chris.
Yeah. Well, speaking of referees, I've seen. I think Buddy from Notre Dame is still kind of bitching just a little bit about the missed holding call. Oh yes, well I don't know what's his name, Robert. Some Tim. What's that rascal? That
you talking about Terry McCauley?
Terry. There you go.
Terry.
Yeah.
It's Wednesday.
He's not
still
even a
going.
Notre Dame guy, but he works for NBC. But he went to LSU.
Okay, he just
Big Catholic fan base down here. I'm in Baton Rouge right now. It is a very.
I can't believe someone named McCauley would be rooting for the Irish.
Yeah, right. Also, shout out to you guys, Robert. This trash talk in the end zone, chef's kiss.
That was my gosh, that
awesome.
was so perfect.
I did I kind of shared on my channel what I thought the win meant for Elko and A&M, and I think I replayed it like 4 or 5 times during that episode because it's too pure, man. I mean, you got the bells and the xylophone going for the Irish fight song, and I mean these guys, you can tell they put work in, they put reps in with the trolling. They were ready for that moment. Pretty elite, man. So any other takeaways from you guys? I mean, we had Ole Miss defeating Arkansas. Chris, give me your thoughts on Ole Miss. Are you a believer in this particular version of Ole Miss? Or I think Arkansas's defense is trash, to be honest with you. I don't think it's a very good defense.
I love this game every year. Like this game in LSU, Florida, it's the drunkest game in the SEC every single year. For real, it's there's always some crazy ridiculousness that happens in that game. In both those games. The fact we got them on the same weekend was great. I wish they weren't on at the same time. I'm not a believer in Ole Miss because I'm not a believer in Austin Simmons. Now that Trinidad Chambliss kid was really, really good, and I believe in Lane Kiffin, but they don't have the luxury of the defense they had a year ago. Like I don't think people understand having 54 sacks on a defensive unit, how big of a deal that is. Like all the tackles for losses, like how disruptive they were. Like that is a very, very big thing to have in your back pocket. They got to go to Athens this year. I think their schedule lines up very, very well. They avoid Texas, Bama, A&M, but they got to go to Athens. They get LSU at home in a couple weeks. I think that's going to be a loss. Like, I'm just not a believer in Ole Miss. I will say I think it was cool that everyone finally got to see Taylon Green, even though he's been playing for a year and a half in this conference, because Taylon Green has been awesome. Human highlight reel, especially when he's not turning the football over. He's so damn fun to watch. But, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Nothing else happened very, very big during the day. There's definitely no blowout losses that we need to talk about at all. So it's like great day.
What is he? He's got 2 SEC wins though, right? He's played both Kentucky and who they just beat, Arkansas. It's like 7-point wins, maybe.
Ole Miss fans are like up my blank about like we're the only team that's 2-0 in the conference, and you're not going to put us higher in your power rankings. First off, I have like 6,000 Twitter followers. Like, my power rankings don't matter. Okay, like let's calm down a little bit. For one, 2. Like the idea that like, oh my God, we beat Kentucky. We escaped Kentucky on the road. Yeah, no one goes into Kroger Field unscathed, guys. You guys are a world beater this year. So I don't know. I do think this is the depth in the conference this year is a lot better than it has been a long time. I'm just not a believer in Ole Miss.
More than fair. I don't think a lot of that Arkansas defense. I thought that Ole Miss potentially could have done a little bit more. I feel less strongly about Ole Miss after hearing you say that, but I do like Austin Simmons a lot. I'm a fan. Let's talk about
INTs, and I don't have 6,000 followers. I have 5,900. It's like,
well, I mean, to be fair, you're on your 5,900.
We round up around here.
Yeah, you're on your 5,900th account in 3 years, so it's kind of hard. I mean, if you add all the followers together, you're probably like a 200,000 follower guy. So I mean, credit where it's due.
Hey, congratulations on your 1-year anniversary of your 5th account there too. By the way,
let's not jinx it here, boys. Let's not jinx it.
There we go. Seems like it's always this time of the year. So yeah, let's not do that. All right, Chris, talk to me about LSU, Florida. Obviously, you got a lot of Tigers down there. Not super thrilled with the way the offense is playing, but when Blake Baker's defense looks the way it
don't
does,
tell that to Brian Kelly.
Don't say anything to Brian Kelly. Yeah. I mean, that would be my word of advice. But what do you think, Chris?
I had so much confidence with Brian Kelly because I was the one that asked the Dabo question like 2 weeks ago about the grading. And I was like, me and Brian Kelly are basically best friends. I'm going to ask the question every single week. And then I made the mistake of asking him about you guys are last in the SEC in explosive passing plays. Like, he's like, we haven't played an SEC game yet. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know for sure. He said it, not me. So I don't even know what you're talking about. No, I think he was frustrated, obviously, because you just get out of a game. Listen, that's like he made a really good point on Monday, not defending what he did necessarily, but like he made a really good point on Monday, which is that's a game they lost a year ago. That's a game they lost with a much better offense. All the stuff that people are pining for, like putting up all these yards and all that kind of stuff, 93 offensive plays a year ago against Florida, it mustered like 16 points. So that's a game you lose a season ago. I think this team, as of right now in week 3, they have a defense that can get them or win them a championship. After 3 games, they have an offense that can cost them one. But I just have a hard time believing, with all the talent they have, with Garrett Nussmeier at quarterback, with Caden Durham, with all the receivers, Aaron Anderson, Xavier Thomas, Nick Anderson, who's Darian Brown, like all the receivers. Chris Hilton has like 4 targets. I have a hard time believing they're going to be this quiet for most of the year. And I think also, like, you do play to win the game. If they beat Bama in a couple weeks, or in a month or so, they beat Ole Miss in a couple weeks, and they get to November with like 1 or no losses, no one cares that you won by 10 points. You know what I mean? Like that's not the whole point of the game.
Well, when you have the upside of that offense, it will get better. I mean, that's how I feel about our offense as well. I don't think that we necessarily have the targets that Garrett Nussmeier has, or even a back like Caden Durham. But I mean, I fully expect that offense to pick it up. But I mean, you play to win the game. I'm not saying Garrett Nussmeier is going to be a game manager, but you might not have to have anything more than that if you're LSU throughout the year, because that defense is pretty dang legit. Coach, when you see the LSU offense, does it give you any concern? Are you also in belief that they pick it up?
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's been underwhelming so far watching what they've done against Clemson and Florida both, but we obviously know what Clemson's putting on the table, as well as what we've seen from what Florida's doing. To me, they're just a dumpster fire in motion, it seems. I'm wondering about Napier, what's going to happen with them as time goes on. But, I had Garrett as one of my Heisman hopefuls to start the season. I really feel like he's underperforming right now. I don't know what it is. It seems to be some kind of funk that he's in as well. But like, Chris says, when your defense is playing as well as you are, you basically end up looking like a game manager by default, in a sense, because you're just not, seeing that consistency, that role that you want to see from him and what we've come to expect from what Garrett can do. So as of right now, it just personally on the outside helicopter's view looking in, I just feel like he's underperforming right now. And it's nice is that if he has the chance to bounce back and continue to grow, I agree with Chris, their defense has the ability to keep them in ball games and make them be very successful this year. If he picks up his game and continues to improve and grow, they could be, hell to pay as the year goes on, because like I said, it just takes, a couple of games for them to get going and get rolling. And all of a sudden you see that team that we were expecting to be a preseason top 3, top 2 at the beginning of the year.
I just know Robert's down there. I know you're down there. It looks like I'm listening to him talk about Arch Manning, DJ Lagway, Garrett Nussmeier, and you posted a couple of different stats yesterday. I think you're welcome to share one if you want. I don't think Arch was involved, but
I know the one you're talking about. I will say I actually incorrectly quoted the stat, so it's not technically true, but it did really well. So
that's my journalism, baby.
But it's like so I will correctly state the stat here, and it's that so far through 3 games, Marcel Reed has accounted for 10 touchdowns, while Garrett Nussmeier, DJ Lagway, and Lenora Sellers have combined for 11.
Okay,
so that's left. I mean, it's like,
although that's that's kind of meaningless because you got Taylon Green over there that's outclassing everybody. But man, we look across the conference as a whole, though, because we've talked on here, every team we're talking about has significant things they're still working through, and I think everyone's looking for this team. Everyone's trying to look for kind of that Alabama of old that was just stacked and was just like a blunt instrument at every single position, and it just doesn't exist in the SEC this year. I think every team is flawed, and I think it's going to make for a really fun year because I think it's going to be a week-to-week proposition of who we think the front runner is going to be.
This is fun for you? You're having fun right now, Robert? I'm reading "Don't Myself" books over here, okay? Okay. That's just a letting around. No, I don't think you're. I think it's interesting. The Sellers thing is weird because one, he's injured, but you would have lost that game to Vanderbilt, I think, either way because of the way they beat them down. But the Sellers thing that's weird is he has 45 yards rushing this year, 45 yards. and 15 of those came on the very first touchdown of the year. That means he has 23 carries for 30 yards the rest of the season, which is
I'm pretty sure he had 45 rushing yards in the first quarter against A&M last year.
right. And the same thing against Mizzou and probably Vandy last year. And so it's weird to see all that kind of unfold. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Dude, like think about every week we think we know so much, and then all this chaos keeps happening, and in 2 weeks we get Georgia, Bama, we get Oregon, Penn State. Like there's so many LSU, Ole Miss. Like there's so many things that still have to fall in place. Dominoes, is that the phrase I'm trying to use? I'm not good with words. I do this for a living. I speak for a living.
I think dominoes falling into place was accurate.
Whatever, sure, whatever.
He's back.
I'm back.
Well, all right, guys, we're going to continue talking about SEC football, get these gentlemen's thoughts on Auburn and Oklahoma. But first, let's hear a word from our sponsor, Luxe Kitchen and Bath.
Are you ready to love your kitchen and bathroom again? Luxe Kitchen and Bath will bring that to life. Luxe has been offering high-end kitchen and bathroom remodels for 3 generations throughout the greater Austin area. With 5-star review after 5-star review on Google and Facebook and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, you can put your faith in Luxe Kitchen and Bath's award-winning designers and skilled craftspeople to bring your dream vision to life. But that's not all. Luxe's all-star team also provides full home remodels, large additions, and even commercial build-outs as well. So call Luxe Kitchen and Bath at 833-358-LUXE today, or visit luxekitchenbath.com to discover where quality meets luxury and begin the process of transforming your home. Get your free quote today by calling 833-358-LUXE. That's LUXE, or by visiting luxekitchenbath.com. Contact info is in the description.
There you go, guys. I know that Chris Marler is going to be hollering at Lux to come fix up one of his 17 condominiums he owns down in Austin, Texas. This guy's, I mean, he's just filthy rich.
Loaded. You guys wouldn't get
Loaded. All right. Oklahoma, Auburn, the only ranked matchup in the SEC this weekend. Jackson Arnold facing his former team. John Mateer. Heisman hype around John Notre, 5 touchdowns and 3 picks, but I digress. We'll continue. Coach, let's start with you. When you see Oklahoma this year, I know you're very big on defense and defensive schemes, concepts. I personally think this Oklahoma defense is the best that Brent Venables has had in a short time, but again, still early in the season. What do you think about the Sooners as far as an early look?
They've impressed me, to be quite frank with you. I know, too much to your chagrin. John Mateer, to me, is what's added sort of that bright spot for them offensively. I do think they need something that complements the run game, because he does not need to be the second leading rusher behind his running back, and I think he's only being outrushed right now by maybe less than 10 yards. They've got to find something to complement them in the running game, because to me, the way he extends play with his legs, he throws a good ball. I see that with the defense with Venables, I've always been defensive minded, so to see good defense being played, it always makes me realize you've got a solid team, because as Chris mentioned a while ago, defense can keep you in ball games. Same principle that I feel from Georgia's perspective when we had the good defensive years through the national championship run. So it's the same principle. You have good solid defense. Brent's finally got his, I think his ducks in a row defensively. I think he's got his scheme and schematics the way he wants it from that side of the ball. And I think John Mateer comes in and brings that bright spot for him. So, he's really impressed me thus far. He's just going to have to continue what he's doing. And, as he extends into gameplay, and I think the Red River rivalry is 2 weeks away?
3.
Yeah. I think that's one of his, big barometer test as well. But, it's just nice to see what he's doing. I think he's the spot that comes in this year from what, unlike Jackson Arnold and their backups could do for him last year. So I like what I see so far from the Sooners.
That's the thing. I mean, you got a good defense. You got quality defensive line depth over there. I think I've still a couple of question marks in the secondary, because I don't think they've really been tested there yet.
No.
And again, that's not their fault. We'll find that out soon. But I do not think that Auburn per se is going to be the most built to attack Oklahoma where they need to be attacked. Chris, let's go to you, man. Auburn. We can talk about Hugh Freeze and Tigers running the football pretty dang good so far. But what do you look at when you see that matchup, brother?
So Mateer is really good. You touched on something that I think you were being a little bit petty about, but correctly petty about. Like the 3 interceptions, I don't know how he's leading the Heisman. He's thrown an interception every game. It's not like they've played a bunch of great teams. They played Temple on the road, which we need to have a talk about. What are we doing there, guys? If you want to be in the conference, can't be doing crap like that. So that part was very weird to me. But no,
that was a 2-for-1, by the way.
Was it?
It's like it's 2 games in Norman, 1 game up there.
That's cool. So
but it's still weird. It's still weird either way, though.
Super weird. So, but yeah, I agree. But they have like, I think the defense is great. I love all the attention Mateer's getting. He deserves it. He's very, very good. What he also has that the quarterback before him did not have: stability, less expectations, I think, which is crazy to think. And then also he doesn't have 5 receivers out. Like Jackson Arnold was thrown to accountants last year. And everyone's like, he is the worst quarterback. And like Jackson Arnold had 4 play callers in like 2.5 years in Norman. Like it's not a recipe for success.
No.
I think Auburn's going to challenge them very, very well this weekend, especially with him throwing the football. People just don't seem to understand how talented that Auburn receiving core is. I think they just came out the injury report, and Singleton might be banged up a little bit with a hip pointer, but they've got talent all over the place. Mateer's got to get tested with a lot of good secondaries in this league. This is not one of them. He might throw for 800 yards on this defense. This defense is terrible in the secondary.
They're terrible. Mm-hmm.
They're awful.
Well, that doesn't make me feel like I'm going to have a lot of fun watching kickoff at 2:30 in Norman, Oklahoma. I was really hoping you might see a competitive game. No, I will say this. I am going to take Oklahoma to win this game by double digits, somewhere between 14 and 17, I think. I think this is a bad matchup for Jackson Arnold. I don't love this for Auburn's first real true test. Say it what you will about the Baylor Bears. Sawyer Robertson is playing some really good football, but they did not have the front 7 that could challenge Auburn in the run game. OU is not going to let Auburn run the football and just make it easy. It's just not going to be the case. Robert, your early takes on Venables Sooners and the improvement, and what do you think about the Tigers?
If anything, man, I think both of these teams so far are looking better than I think what a lot of us thought going into the year. And I know, like myself personally, I was not expecting much of anything from Auburn, and they're at least, they're at least looking like a much more legit threat week in, week out than I initially thought. But yeah, I mean, definitely, like, this is one of those early games that really sets those narratives in motion. Obviously, Jackson Arnold going back to OU is going to be the dominant one there. But it's also like one of these teams is going to be 1-0 in SEC play coming out of this. And I know for myself personally, Auburn comes to Kyle Field next weekend. And so I'm just saying, selfishly, I'd love to see Auburn win, get them into the top 20, maybe have like a huge emotional win where they do it for their QB and then come to Kyle Field in a letdown spot. But but I do kind of agree with you guys that if I'm picking teams, I feel like OU has looked like the more well-rounded squad so far.
I tell you this too, if I'm, unlike Baylor, I'm sure that Venables hopefully does this too. I would take the ball out of Jackson Arnold's hand. They're going to run a lot of +1 stuff with him where he's able to pull on power or give it on spread. I would crash him every time and make him hand it off on the sweep and have somebody take care of that, because that's all they've got. And just as Chris said a while ago, we're going to see if he can actually make a forward pass to these guys, Cam Coleman and Singleton. Both. You said Singleton may be banged up a little bit. Yeah. I think equally right now they're both around 150 receiving yards apiece. I know they want to get the ball to those guys, but still, you got to be able to show consistency with that. So from the run game perspective, take that away where he has to hand it off every play. He can't, hurt you with his legs and make him stay in the pocket and actually beat you throwing the ball down the field vertically.
I'm pulling for Oklahoma to win this game, because if I watch any more idiots from these two fan bases get on Twitter and argue about the 2004 season, I'm going to lose my mind. I mean, just the dumbest of just the worst trash talk between these two. And here's the thing too. This is a rant that has nothing to do with what you asked, Cord, and nothing to do with your channel. But I got on the soapbox and I'm going to finish this idea. Auburn administration claimed 9 national championships, including this season where they didn't play for one. And they're still upset about. Brother, do you have any idea how big of a favor the BCS did for Auburn, not letting them go in there and get their ass beat by 30? I mean, that is, otherwise they wouldn't have been able to claim this national title. So I'm excited for Oklahoma for that. That's just a little personal. I wanted to get that off my chest. Therapy, I'd be delayed till next week. This is it.
You have no love for Jason Campbell, Cadillac Williams, Ronnie Brown, and the boys back in the day?
Here's the thing. They played the 55th ranked strength of schedule in the season, and USC and Oklahoma played the 5th and 11th, respectively. They both had teams or defenses that were ranked in the top 11 nationally in scoring defenses. I think both of them had offenses that were ranked in the top 20, maybe in the top 10. There were 3 Heisman winners on those teams and Adrian Peterson. And this idea that Auburn got screwed out of getting in, people seem to forget that those 2 teams started the season out 1 and 2 in the rankings. Neither one of them lost. And Auburn's sitting over here like, oh, we got so screwed. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. It was a 2-team race that year, and you guys were 3rd.
So I think we all agree whoever wins Saturday gets to claim the 2004 national title.
I think Oklahoma should claim it anyway and put it up in the stadium as Auburn's walking in. Like, I'm talking about like fixing
have a flag.
Yeah,
you run in with.
Banging the nails into the side of the stadium while they're going inside running on the field. Like, oh, hold on, guys, just give us a second.
All right, so Chris, you've been a blast. You've been a lot of fun. Give me your final takes because I'm going to slide Dave Myrick of the 107.7, the franchise in Oklahoma City, in to talk a little about the Sooners. Sorry, brother. I thought you were going to do a short time with us.
Oh, my bad.
Any final? No, you're great. We love having you here. Any final takes? SEC
Enjoyed
football.
This.
I don't care.
I am very excited for the rest of the season. Being down here in Baton Rouge and then also covering South Carolina, all that kind of stuff. I mean this, and it's going to sound so disingenuous, but I mean it so well. Robert, it's a pleasure to see all of you guys. This is the longest I've gotten to see you speak without Kyle Umlong coming in and sending some stupid Aggie hate tweet. And it's been, I needed it. My soul needed it. It's good to see all you boys, and I'll see y'all soon.
Love it, Chris. Love you, buddy. Thanks for being here, man. All right. With that being said, let's get my guy. There he is, the big guy, Mr. Dave Myrick. Dave, apologies for not getting you in here a little bit earlier, my man. It's always good to see you, though. Even in that Thunder shirt, man. I don't know what the heck that's about, but it is what it is. I guess you are a champion for the moment. Talk to me, brother. You doing all right? And how we feeling about this weekend at the Palace?
It's weird, guys. I mean, we all knew it was coming. Jackson Arnold makes his return. A lot of mixed emotions around the program right now. There's nothing like negative with the guy, right? But you're not exactly pulling for him to come in and beat your ass either. So a lot of talk is going to be booed. What's the mood going to be like? I don't know. I know the staff is very confident in their defensive front seven to slow down Hugh Freeze, what he likes to do in the run game using Jackson. I don't think Auburn's going to come in and do that enough to win. I think this Oklahoma defense will make them have to throw the football. That might not be good news. They got a couple of really good wide receivers, Cam Coleman being one, and he doesn't need a perfect football. He doesn't need Jackson to have, 5 seconds in the pocket. He can go up and get it. So I actually see this game a lot closer than guys that I work with, people I work with. I think it's going to be a 4-quarter battle. Can't wait to get down there and watch it.
Yeah, pretty envious, man. No disrespect to Sam Houston State, but just seeing the environment at Neyland Stadium last week, seeing the environment at in Oklahoma with Michigan in town, what A&M got to be a part of. Forget Texas at Ohio State. That's not relevant. We'll worry about something, another big environment down the line. I'm getting, but Dave, personally for me, man, I'm worried that Jackson, do they let Jackson Arnold push the football down the field, brother? Do they try and be aggressive here? Because if they run a bunch of +1 coach stuff like Coach just talked about, and the stuff that you just mentioned, that Oklahoma defensive line is going to body them. I just feel that way. I think obviously you've got dogs all across it. I don't care that R. Mason Thomas is missing a half. I think he's a better pass rusher than he is being involved in the run game. So I don't think that's necessarily a huge deal, even though I think he's obviously an NFL talent. It's going to be hard for me to see Auburn scoring points in this game. What do you think about the other side of the football? John Mateer getting a little bit of Heisman love, but hey, let's talk about Blaylock. I guess you could say breaking out a little bit last week in Temple. Do you see that type of performance, being standard throughout the rest of the season? And just talk to me a little bit about that matchup on that side of the ball.
Yeah, man. First of all, John Mateer, Heisman. So I'm not there yet. I'm not going to anoint him the Heisman winner or first-team All-American. I think because we're seeing guys like Nussmeier and Klubnik, there's not really anybody taking the mantle right now. And by default, he beat Michigan in prime time, so he's kind of getting love. We'll see how that plays out. I like the matchup with Oklahoma's wide receivers against Auburn's secondary. That's been one area that team has been kind of soft. They do have an elite pass rusher on the edge, so I'm really glad Mike Vasusi will be back for Oklahoma this week at right tackle. But I like that matchup, Cord. Jaron Kanik at tight end has been the story of the season so far for Oklahoma, coming out of nowhere, a linebacker all through his college days. He's been playing tight end for 3 months. He leads the country in receptions. from tight ends. I think he's like 8th in the country as far overall. So unbelievable weapon. You can tell him and Mateer really have a lot of comfort there, and Mateer looks for him when things aren't there. But there's one thing about Mateer. He's a gunslinger. He's going to take some chances with the football and put it into some bad spots, and that is where the Oklahoma defense, to their credit, has been good enough to either bow up and force a 3-and-out and get the ball back, or bow up and force a field goal. So I think they're a good eraser for John Mateer and the mistakes he might make. But I like Oklahoma to move the ball against Auburn, put up some points. But you got to remember, this team is motivated to come in and kick Oklahoma's ass. I mean, the skip 6 down in the Plains last year, 11-point comeback in the fourth quarter. They haven't forgot that. They're coming to get revenge and play for their quarterback. So I see a lot of motivation. Hugh Freeze, to me, is kind of like, whatever, but the guy he's pretty good. He's pretty innovative as it goes to offense. I think he's going to get really creative in the run game, a lot of misdirection, eye candy, all that discipline stuff with the defense, keeping your eyes in the right spot will be important. But I do like Oklahoma to move the football and score against Auburn.
I'm going to be honest with you, man, and I look at that total of 48.5 points right now, and I think that's a little bit too low, just because I think that Auburn will not move the football consistently unless they do take some shots. Well, then you're talking about having a Cam Coleman, and maybe he is banged up, but Chris Singleton will be out there as well. That to me, that's I'm taking shots there, baby. We're letting it fly down the field, and of course, and doing our normal stuff. But I do think Oklahoma moves the football pretty well against the Tigers. Now, that's the thing. Does John Mateer, does he continue to turn it over just a little bit? But even if so, I mean, like you said, OU's got that defense to fall back on. If OU runs the ball like they did in Temple, of course, this is a whole different animal of an opponent. But that is what I need to see out of Oklahoma. I need to see the ability to help out John Mateer in the run game. You don't want him running it 15 to 20 times. And I've been saying now that might be my quarterback's best chance of success, is just toting it 15, 20 times. That's being facetious. I don't mean it. But overall, man, I mean, I don't think you could have dreamed up better starts for, Dave and Oklahoma down there, and just the way that things are looking, the energy and the hype around the program. You know what I mean? Like we talked about, a lot of kids are in wait and see mode in the recruiting world. Robert, that's kind of a point that you made as well. Elko, Venables, they have something to sell. Obviously we have a long season, could change on a weekly basis, but this is what you would have wanted if you're a Sooner fan through 3 weeks. You got a top 25 SEC matchup, unbeaten SEC matchup at home. Is the noise around Brent Venables' name, what's it like up there right now? Because, I mean, I feel like in the past, you would have heard multiple different opinions. But to me, it seems at the moment that everybody's kind of bought back in, and they're back to trusting Venables and what he's built there.
Yeah, I'll say about 50-50, man. I mean, it's been dark times. I think there are fans that are still like, that's great, we need to see more. And I don't blame them, man. I mean, 2 losing seasons in 3 years, that's a tough pill to swallow. They're not used to seeing that up here, but I'll give Brent credit. We needed to see him follow up a big win and look good. In 22, they beat Nebraska. They lost at home to Kansas State the next week. 23, they beat Texas. They should have lost at home to UCF the next week. Last year, they beat Alabama, and they go winless the rest of the season. So I needed to see them go on the road. I know Temple's Temple. I think they'll be a bowl team, but it was, a sleepy early morning kickoff. Nobody's there the week after a big game. And I was impressed with what I saw. I mean, it looked like a team that is playing up to a standard opposed to against the opponent, which has kind of been a problem. So he's got to keep building this. If they go into Texas undefeated, I love where Oklahoma's at. But that back half of the schedule, man, you can't start off 5-0 and finish 8-5, right? Everybody asked me the entire offseason, how many wins, as Brent say? I don't know because of that. It's going to depend how he gets there to the win total. So, I think if they go in undefeated to Texas, that gives him some leeway down the stretch, but he still can't lose too many, even though it's a really tough schedule. So he's in a tough spot, man, and he's got a really good team. This defense is one of the best I've ever seen in Norman. That front seven is just disgusting. They've got guys on the inside, guys on the outside, and I'm not talking bodies for depth. I'm talking about day one NFL talent, and that's his full recruiting cycle, his fingerprints all over the D. It's exactly like he wanted. So I think he's got the team to take him there to get him safe back next year, but it's just a matter of going out and doing it now. In-game adjustments be very important coming down the stretch, avoiding the mistakes we saw even against Michigan. It didn't come back to bite them then, but you've got to play better, coach better, and play cleaner down the stretch. But people, they're happy where they're at right now, of course, opposed to preseason. A lot of talk. The perception has changed, no doubt.
There's definitely been a tone shift, if you will, in the Sooners that comment on my things. I'll just say that there's a little bit more confidence and a little bit more colorful language than there was for about the last year. But it's all in fun. I've had a really good time talking Oklahoma because I think that defense deserves to be talked about. And then John Mateer is a very fun player and prospect. All of those things. Call him what you will. We got a lot of guys calling him a quarterback play or running back playing quarterback. Dude's got a pistol, man. Watching him throw the football is fun. It is very exciting. A lot of pop on it. And you know that he's a gunslinger and he's going to try to fit it into some tight spots. So I have an appreciation for old Johnny Mateer's game. Gentlemen, it's been a lot of fun. Dave, again, sorry we didn't have you on here earlier, but a couple more minutes. Would any other takes that anybody would like to have about anything regarding SEC football, college football in general?
Yeah, Robert, that was a great hold up at Notre Dame, man. That was well done.
Hey, it's only a hold if they call it, man.
That's exactly right. Take the win, bro. Take the win.
Sucks to suck.
Yeah. Coach, anything from you up there? Y'all, anything else from anyone, guys?
It's been a pleasure to be on here with you guys tonight talking ball. Something I look at is that it's not talked about as much, but how about Diego Pavia with Vanderbilt right now and what he's doing?
Yeah.
I think that's some great stuff for SEC play, because considering they've been the redheaded stepchild for the entirety of the time they've been in the SEC. And, also too, I look at a Mississippi State team that's playing pretty well right now, undefeated, having some opportunities, and then got Tennessee coming to their place. They're easily going to be probably 4-0. I think they got Northern Illinois this week, and then they'll have Tennessee coming up there or coming over there to them. So it's kind of nice to see all the bottom dwellers, I hate to say it that way, actually start making some noise this year as well. And Dave, to add to you with Oklahoma on the outside looking in, being a Georgia fan, being over here on the East Coast and not getting a chance to see Oklahoma ball as much as I have, I've really been impressed with John Mateer. So I think he is that bright spot that's going to help you succeed through the season as we go. I think that's something that you'll see as a catalyst, and I hope to see that because, like you said, Brent Venables, I love the fact that you called it the imprint is on his defense and what he wants to do. But offensively, I just see great things from them as they move forward. In those games where they were losing, like I said, not going 8-5, you start getting over the hump of that. So to me, it's an identity game that Brent Venables has got to do too, and I think he goes out there and gets it done against Auburn. So I'm excited to see what they do, and it just adds more excitement to the Texas game as well going forward and things like that. So I love what I see. When I see good ball, I'm gonna call it.
Yeah, Coach. I wish I'd have been on with you a little bit longer. Heard some of you talking the Vandy game you referenced. I went back and watched that D. Some of the disguises and pressures they had.
Oh my God.
I'd hate to try to block that up, man, but that team is dangerous. I wouldn't want to play them anywhere, anytime right now.
And, it's funny, too. They want to talk about Lenoris being hurt in the South Carolina game. Well, that had nothing to do with their defense because, like I said, Vandy-wise, I was watching some great stuff that they did to try to defend. I think they've really rallied around what he does, and all that talking he was doing preseason, he's backing it up on the field, too, so that's good to see.
Yeah, I'll say – people talked a lot of crap about that Texas Longhorn soft schedule. You're looking at that November that includes Arkansas, Georgia, Vandy, and A&M. That's not as soft as it looked a month ago.
Yeah, all of a sudden, we've got 4 top 11 teams on that schedule thanks to the resurgence of Brent Venables Sooners and Mike Elko's Aggies. You know what I mean? So we're people helping people is powerful stuff out here.
Right.
Yeah, let's hope we can get in there and win a damn football game or two. But I do like the points that you gentlemen just made. Coach, as always, I love your takes around the across the board, man. Vanderbilt deserves respect. Clark Lee is on fire. The way that they have that defense, that's the physicality. Just understanding the game, the IQ for football, like they have it on that side of the football. It's very impressive to watch. One quick story. I went to my daughter's playing 7-on-7 flag football. Went to practice last night, and I asked one of the moms who was a Notre Dame alum. I'm saying, hey, I asked my wife, you gonna talk any trash, and she's like, no, I'm gonna leave her alone. And so I messed with her a little bit. Well, her husband's a Vandy Commodore alum. And so he's like, normally I got to go to the academic rankings to get one up on her and anything. Right. And he was like, for the first time ever, I'm able to say, look at this. I can send ESPN polls to her and say, look at this. So God bless college football, man. It's a lot of fun. I can't wait to see what happens for the rest of the year because I do agree with you, gentlemen. There's more parity across the board, of course, thanks to the NIL era, transfer portal, rosters being smaller than they've been in the past. It was always going to happen. And I think this is the first year where you really do see it. Rob, there is no 2022 Georgia or any of the teams, you kind of mentioned earlier, just somebody that takes it and runs with it, is out there breaking teams. So I think it's pretty dang wide open, man. I really, really do. Everybody has questions.
Mm-hmm.
But thank y'all for being here, guys. We're going to let everyone go enjoy the rest of their Wednesday. Go like, subscribe, Inside Texas. And, hey, go check these guys out on Twitter, man. CoachHayesHuddle.com, RCBO5. I mean, Robert's kind of funny, man. If you get in there with Robert, like he'll make you a little less mad at the Aggies if you wear burnt orange all the time. You're a funny rascal. And then Dave Myrick down there at 107.7 The Franchise. We're all over Twitter all the time, YouTube, everywhere. Thanks for being here, watching Inside Texas with us tonight. Gentlemen, thanks for being here, and everyone have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.